$2 billion. We all know of the one billionaire we have.
We have about 192 tells as of this morning.
Wow.
12,000 keys.
The hospitality king.
You said, oh, you're from the Wai Wai family.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Wai Wai?
Yeah.
Sportsman in town.
He didn't know what to say.
Nepal's hospitality industry.
Broke. My father gave me the best car in university.
Nepal's become the world's top 10 countries as the highest per capita consumption of noodles. We have 47 packets per person per year.
Tired of spending hours and big budgets on endless manual testing? Say goodbye to all that. Introducing Stellar, the smarter AI-powered testing platform. It's simple, low-code, fast and cost-effective. Contact us for more details.
Holy.
Namaste and welcome back to this epic episode of What's With. Today I'm excited. I'm really excited because today I get to talk to three individuals who truly inspire me. नेपालमा हाम्रो धेरै कम यस्तो संस्थाहरू छ जुन चाहिँ संसारभरि जहाँ गए पनि उहाँहरू झल्किने। तर एउटा संस्था छ, त्यो संस्थाको एउटा प्रडक्ट छ। म स्कुलमा हुँदाखेरि, कलेजमा हुँदाखेरि मित्रहरूले जहिले पनि भन्थ्यो त्यो चाहिँ ल्याइदेऊ है भनेर। And even today, when my daughter studies in America, there's one carton of that goes with her to New York. And that product is Wai Wai, and that company is CG. CG in Nepal, CG in the region, CG globally. We all know, we all are proud of the one billionaire we have, Mr. Binod Chaudhary. Well, today, we have his three sons here. The three sons who people say, oh, Binod Chaudhary ko chhora bhai bhi ta sajilo hola ni. तर म एउटा कुरा भन्न चाहन्छु, ठुलो रुखको मुनि सानो सानो बिरुवा आउँदाखेरि हो त्यो ठुलो रुखले हावा हुरीबाट बचाउला, तर त्यो सानो सानो बिरुवाहरूलाई ठुलो हुनु झन् कठिन हुन्छ. Because Binodji has written a book called Making It Big, and I have three gentlemen with me today who are committed, dedicated to making it even bigger. Welcome, Nirvanji. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Varunji.
Thank you, Dave.
Rahul.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And that's enough for the G's now. No more G's. I'm really, really excited about today because What's With is here to inspire the youth. अहिले मलाई अलिकति डर लागेको चाहिँ हाम्रो युवाहरू आफ्नो भविष्य नेपालमा नदेखेर संसारभरि देखिरहेको छ. CG Group is one group. I've worked very closely. I've worked for your bank 2 times, and I know how the group functions in Nepal and a little bit about how it functions globally. So to get this ability, this opportunity to talk to you directly and see inside workings of CG is an opportunity not only for me, but I think for all our viewers. Starting with you, brother. What is it that you look after in CG and how's it going?
That firstly, I must say that, I think we've known each other for over 2 decades. And even while working together, I used to always call you boss. But I think today is the first day which out of deep, from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to address you as Dai, which I truly mean. So Dai Hamro Group, it's a privately owned company. Today we are in 15 different sectors. I'm based in Nepal. I've been here for the last 25th year now. I look after our group's FMCG, noodles, snacks, beverages, our financial services, our energy, education, consumer goods, electronics, our energy, construction, um, businesses. FMCG primarily in Nepal is what I look after, but something that gives me most satisfaction and I'm most passionate about is the work I'm doing through our group's foundation, which I'm deeply involved in.
I remember 2.5 decades or so ago, a young Mr. Nirvan Chaudhary starting CG Finco, Western Union, and saying, I'm going to turn this into a profitable company in a certain period of time, and then doing it in, what was it? 1
Broke
week?
even in 3 days. But
Exactly, in 3 days. And from that to here, it's been quite an incredible journey for me to look at and see you evolve and grow into this. So you've given all these businesses. So how do you actually run it? Are there people, I mean, CEOs, GMs who run this and you look after it? Or how does it work? Because working in Nepal, the two brothers work in much more systematic environments, let's say, in comparison to you. We know that you're always juggling. How is it to run a company like this in a country like Nepal?
So, I mean, Nepal ma afne challenges haru cha, but I've always, before I even came here, 25 years ago, I've always seen opportunities here. Sometimes my father calls me an eternal optimist. He's like, wow, like everything you're seeing positive, everything you're seeing there's an upside. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there's ups and downs. But Amit Tini training started off from grassroots level. Okay? And before we went into grassroots level, I think one of our biggest trainings was firstly in understanding the value of money. That there is no shortcut to success. With absolute honesty, with absolute hard work, with absolute dedication and prioritization of your goal, okay, there is no other way you can achieve success. So this is something that was embedded in our, I mean, on all three of us since a very, very young age. Like from a very young age, we never, our dinner table, our dinner discussions or family holidays was never about, hey, how is your football going on? Who was your girlfriend, etc. It was all about, this is what we're doing in business. It was business talks from a very, very young age, So we've grown in that environment. So having grown in that environment, I think me personally, I knew that I was not built, cut out to be a businessman. Sabaijanako nature huncha ni. My interest was more always inclined towards art, creativity, theater. So at a very young age, I got a chance to sit, holidays ma aako belama, wale board meeting ma, I used to get a chance to sit there and just observe from I was 11, 12 years old. But I got my working experience when I was studying in London. I was working daytime in an investment bank, DLJ,
yes.
which later got bought out by Credit Suisse. But at night time, I was a waiter also.
Okay.
So daytime gave me a very good exposure to the financial services, how an organization or a company or a multinational works. That at night time, again, the same dynamics of an organization. You have customers, you have raw material, and your people who are putting the right product together, and providing the best Nepali food. At that time, I told the owner of the restaurant that Malai said I'll work in the night shift, but Malai एक रातिको चाहिँ नेपाली खाना र 1 pound दिनु होला. And to me today, one of the most important assets I have is that 64 pounds that I earned over there, which taught me the value of money. But again, having gone through that, came to Nepal in the year 2002. I would say the peak of the insurgency. We didn't even have our offices. Our office was at Tata Mobile truck.
Yeah.
We had to go from Mechi to Mahakali. I was traveling from distributor to distributor from a very young age. Again, the advantage of being in a very chaotic environment and yet having a very positive mindset is it's twice the more dangerous sometimes. Because while some people think, what are you doing? I was like, wow, this is what I like. And luckily I was in that mindset. But in our organization, there was nothing where you graduated and here's a big office. No. You had to climb your way up. And that's what I did. I worked first 2 years in our hospitality division out of Singapore. Was part of the pre-opening team of couple of hotels,
Mhm.
lifting chairs, tables.
Mhm.
So I got that little bit of an exposure there. My best exposure was during the insurgency, Mechi, the Himakali Sama. I went from every nick and corner of Nepal. That's when I understood the potential of our country.
Mhm.
So I started off early, and then one by one started to once again turn around businesses, get involved in businesses. Today, I think out of the 15 verticals, 11 of them is something which I would be looking after. I think I have close to 28, 30 CEOs and business unit heads that work with me.
Mhm.
Um,
I used to be one of them, so I know.
we used to, yeah, but I work with me. We used to work together. And but again, this is something which the business model is that they work with me because I have either been part of that journey of understanding that business well or been part of creating that business. And till the time I've not convinced myself that it's reached a particular autopilot and now someone else can do that better than me, I don't move on. So that's the business, that's the kind of a model, human capital model that we work in. And once you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, you have to know that other people can do something better than you can. And if you have that humility to understand and get that quality from that person to collaborate with you, then the growth is multiple. Okay? And you have to trust the professionals, you have to trust their expertise, you have to trust their judgment, work together on a joint vision, have it align with our group's vision. And again, I think out of this, the fundamental is the biggest learning for us, the biggest teaching for us is our father. I mean, he's someone who we call the University of Hard Knocks. You know? He's literally, I've written a small book called One in a Billion.
Yeah.
He is literally one in a billion. The koile in generation, there's one person comes who's so charged, who's so clear, who's very, very smart. And when you're operating under him, you it's like that rail ko patri huncha ni. He is going on a particular speed, so either you tighten yourself or you just fly off us. So while going on tightening ourselves, we've learned a lot from him. But having said that, learned the fundamental basics from him. Okay? But our styles are very different.
Yes.
But our end goal is the same. So that's how it is.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, eh? Nirvan Chaudhary ji pani
I said knock off the G. I thought you said that.
Chaudhary brothers was also a waiter. I think we all need to remember that dignity of labor. No job is too small, no job is too big, and then that positivity that I have always found in you is that positivity.
Positivity, right people.
Exactly.
It's people for me about
exactly.
everything.
And to move forward, and then to be able to work and excel in an environment like we have right now in Nepal, which has its positives, its opportunities, and its challenges, but always be able to pick up those opportunities and to move forward. Really, really inspiring journey, I think. And I think having worked with Binod ji also, yes, I agree. He is one in a billion.
He's a hard taskmaster.
Oh my God, he's a hard taskmaster.
You survive with him.
Exactly.
You've learned.
Yeah. It's what I tell people when they ask me, but they say it's so difficult with Binod ji. I say, coal, koila, and then they say, koila. 99.9% of कोइला जलेपछि खरानी बन्छ 0.01% हिरा बन्छ त्यो हिरा कसरी बन्छ extreme pressure extreme heat भएपछि हिरा बन्छ Binod ji will either make you kharani or make you hira. It's up to you, the koila, to decide what you want to become.
Either you'll burn or you'll
shine. Exactly. And I think having worked closely with him, I agree that it's that. And it's for your own good. It's not for his good, but it's for your own good. And those of us who come out as the hira are the ones who shine. And
actually,
hats
just
off to him for that.
One more thing, when he sees someone coming in for the first time, in those first initial few minutes, he has the knack to sense the person's ability, right? So suppose he knows your potential to deliver is 6, right? Now, if you are working with him, he'll put your benchmark at 8. His expectations for you will be at 8. You will work to reach that 8. Maybe from 6 you'll reach 7. He will show you his disappointment. Okay, but deep inside he'll be happy that wow, I got him to go from 6 to 7. So that's something which I think we are all very blessed to have gotten that opportunity to work with him.
Including me. And I still remember, and जहिले पनि म publicly, privately जहिले पनि भन्छु, एउटा 38 वर्षको नेपाली ठिटालाई यसले गर्न सक्छ होला है भनेर नेपालको पहिलो जोइन्ट भेन्चर ब्याङ्कको पहिलो नेपाली सिओ बनाउने त्यो भनेको आँट हो कि थिङ्स वेन्ट वेल सो पिपल आर लाइक वाउ बट इफ इट ह्याडन्ट हि वुड हेभ बिन सेड होइन विनोदजी के गर्नुभयो त्यो ठिटोलाई दिएर हेर ब्याङ्कै बर्बाद भयो भनेर बट एज यु सेड यु नो हि सो यसलाई म पुस गर्छु यसलाई म हिरा बनाउँछु बिकज आई वाज जस्ट अ नर्मल ब्याङ्कर लाइक एभ्रिबडी एल्स Anil Shah बनाएको त Binod Chaudhary हो नि त्यो नाबिल ब्याङ्कमा अपर्च्युनिटी दिएर I mean there's no two ways about it. If at 38 he hadn't made me the CEO of Nabil Bank, today I wouldn't be doing these podcasts and known all over the place and so on and so forth. So, you know, I fully know exactly what you're talking about on that. So, we come to you, the hospitality king. I mean, we keep seeing you in all sorts of places. And Nepal को चाहिँ हामी जहिले पनि भन्छौँ पर्यटनै हो हाम्रो भविष्य पर्यटन नै छ एउटा खम्बा पर्यटनै हो भनेर चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति दुःख लागेको चाहिँ you are doing amazing jobs in tourism all over the world. You know, whether it's in Maldives or Dubai or here or there, we just look at the properties and they're not average, they're outstanding properties, you know. And then you're also, of course, Nepal ma pani hamro, you know, with tourism is there. So what is it you're looking after in CG and how is that going?
Sure. No, first of all, thank you so much for having us here. It's always a pleasure for all three of us to be together, individually as well as together. And I remember the last time we did this was just last year, and a lot of things have evolved since then. You know, the group is a very dynamic group, as you know, and we keep evolving all the time. You know, one point you made that which touched a chord, which you said that three of us are an inspiration. I will also like to add a point there that although I have not had the pleasure of working closely with you like Nirvan has, I've seen you grow in your career, as you mentioned. And after Nabil Bank, I know that you've taken on in terms of sharing your wisdom, your experience, like you're doing now, to the youth. And I've also seen how passionate and proud you are of Nepal. In every forum and in every event that you go to, I've seen how you celebrate Nepal, like the recent one of the Nepal Super League. So inspiration comes from there, you know.
Thank you.
And in terms of the group, there are a couple of verticals that I look after. One of them is the group's hospitality vertical, which I look after globally. And Varun helps me in some of the investments within our hospitality as well. And apart from that, I also look after our real estate vertical globally, apart from India. Varun is based in Delhi, as we know, and he handles the real estate vertical there. I also look after our family office, and based out of Dubai. Recently, I actually moved to Dubai. And so these are some of the things that, apart from some corporate related verticals that come under me, these are some of the things that I handle.
So, you know, all of you are so humble, I find at times. Okay? I look after the hospitality as if you manage some hotels or something. How many of these hotels are there? And you know, where are they spread out and all? Because we want to be proud. होइन म नेपाली हुँ म पनि भन्नु सकौँ नि हाम्रो पनि एउटा कम्पनी छ जसको चाहिँ यतिवटा होटल छ संसारभरि होइन हिल्टन सिल्टनमा चाहिँ किन होस् हाम्रो पनि यस्तो छ भनेर
Sure. No, so as of date, we have about, as of today, morning, we have about
192 properties.
192 hotels as of this morning.
Wow.
In about 12 countries and over 12,000 keys. So we are literally opening, I would say, 25 to 30 hotels a year now.
Okay.
And just a short, I'll speak a little bit in terms of, perhaps that may have been your next question, but when I started.
Yes.
So when I started in hospitality, first, of course, as Nirvan mentioned that, you know, he was the one who went into hospitality. And the start of the relationship with IHCL, Taj. He was the one with my father who had started that. And in 2000, destiny had it so that 2005, we were at about 3 or 4 hotels in Sri Lanka and India with Taj. And that was the time when IHCL was really struggling, you know. And those properties in Sri Lanka, right at a moment when bombs were flying on top
They were
of the
burning
hotel
planes in the
and
airport.
so on and so forth. And it required someone with guts, it required someone with a vision and foresight to be able to anticipate and see that those countries are really going to become the future. And that's exactly what separates Binod Chaudhary from the rest. I mean, can you imagine a person who's living in Nepal? Okay, this is 1997, 1998, by the way. More than 25 years back. Someone who doesn't know much about Sri Lanka, Maldives. Obviously, we know that it's a beautiful tourist destination, right? And to be able to partner with Tatas.
Yeah.
I mean, Tatas have so much in India itself, they can partner with anyone they like, right? Why with someone like Binod Chaudhary?
Out of Nepal.
Out of Nepal, that
Yes.
too, right? But I think what they saw in Binod Chaudhary that time, and he was 35. Okay, no, I think he was 45, sorry. What they saw in Binod Chaudhary that time was someone who's got that entrepreneurial mindset, who's got that foresight, and who thinks like a businessman. You see, when you talk about a brand, an operator, they typically think about operations. And rest is history. 3 hotels at that point in time. I was in university in America, and I remember the first deal I ever closed, the 4th one when I was in university, was the Hilton DoubleTree at JFK, which we still have, right?
Okay.
I remember it took me literally 12 months to close that one deal. And everything and anything that could go wrong with the deal went wrong with that deal. And to the extent I remember, my parents were in Maldives, holidaying. I obviously made their life hell in Maldives. They were not too pleased about that holiday. And I remember the night before the deal, I told him, Papa, I mean, I've spent 12 months and I'm sorry to say that we can close the deal tomorrow, but the deal price has just gone up by 10%. And the 10% was not chump change,
Exactly.
Oh, he flipped out.
No.
He literally hung up. He said, to hell,
Hell, yeah.
what are you going to do hotels and this and that? And he hung up. And I'm sitting there in my lawyer's office and thinking, now what, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, as Nirvan also mentioned, I mean, he's a man who likes to push you, keep pushing you for the better. And next morning, obviously, we got closed the deal, and he till today says that that is the most expensive learning for him, and probably the most expensive learning for me. But that one deal really shaped me in terms of, and shaped, I would say, the group from hospitality, from 4 hotels in 2006 till 292 today. And we only started our journey in Nepal in hotels less than 10, 12 years back. Destiny had it so that we were destined to be all around the world, and probably one of the larger partners of IHCL. And now when we look at it, I mean, God has been kind, and we have grown quite rapidly in India as well. And Nepal too.
Yes.
As I was mentioning, we are growing our hospitality footprint here. So overall, it's been a very interesting journey. And proudly, we always say that we are probably the only Nepalese company in so many countries, and also more so in many of these places where our Nepalese flag is flying, like Dubai,
Yes.
like Philippines, Kenya, and like that we intend to continue, because every Nepali who crosses these hotels says that, I am from there and that's from our country. So I think we have done reasonably okay, and growing, and we are pushing ourselves harder. I would say that this is just the start of our hospitality journey. And, Bino Chaudhary has a vision. And we all imbibe with that vision. And we know where we want to be, collectively as well as individually from our own businesses. And like Nirvan mentioned, I mean, during his school days, he was also working in restaurants, literally. I mean, sweeping floors and busting tables. That's what I did in university as well. But I think I mean, a very interesting thing. My father gave me the best car in university. But he said, I'm not paying for your insurance or your gas. So one had to work there to earn that money and be able to ride the car, So so that is in short, our stint with hospitality, and I would say lots more to come, and we are super excited.
192, and in Dubai, I have also going past the property in Dubai and seeing the flag. I've told people, see, that's our flag. That's a Nepali hotel, and people are a bit shocked because they don't expect in Dubai or Kenya, for instance, that there would be a Nepali property there. But it's a question again, and I say this I would like everyone to think about this in positive ways. कहिलेकाहीँ मेरो होइन भने पनि हाम्रो हो भने गर्व गर्नुपर्छ कि हाम्रो भनेको के हो भने नेपालीको हो नि त यो त भनेर चाहिँ होइन किनभने गएर होटलमा त बस्नै छ काहीँ न काहीँ भनेदेखि हाम्रै कोही नेपालीको छ भनेदेखि किन नगर्ने लाइक यु सेड होइन नेपालीको रेस्टुरेन्ट नेपाली खाना त खान पाइन्छ भने जस्तै when you see that Nepali flag flying outside Nepal, I think it's not that, oh, I'm his son or I'm getting, I'm a shareholder. I'm a Nepali man and that's my flag and Allah.
And that's also, that's also true to our, I would say, our motto. Motto of CG, as we all know, is taking Nepal to the world.
Yes.
But I think what has evolved over a period of time is also bringing the world to Nepal. I think that's what collectively, I would say, Binod Chaudhary and three of us have been able to do, and more so, bigger names and players who look at giving back as a huge component and focus. And I think Nirvan, I mean, hats off to him. That's a role that he and my father have very, very strongly played through the foundation to bring the likes of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, your likes of the World Banks and Jack Ma. And the name goes on and on. I mean, they obviously see that this is very important now. And everyone looks at a bridge when coming to a developing country like Nepal to tie up with someone, because it's not easy. And if you see the history, if I can just digress a little bit, if you see the history of our group and our growth, you will see that our entry has mostly been in markets that are frontier and emerging. Or markets that have just come out of turmoil, and there is, they say where there's war, there is opportunity. Right? But this is what Nepal pushes us and molds us to be. Resilient, and immune to change, immune to such difficult environments. And it's not buying one would say a hotel in London or buying a hotel in Shanghai, and those are developed markets. Like you mentioned to him. You are in Nepal, they are outside. How is it different in terms of being in Nepal? Definitely, it's a very, very organized environment in some of these markets. But the markets that we stepped into, oh my gosh, we literally had to slog to turn these investments around. I mean, one simple example I'll tell you. The Kenya deal that we bought from His Highness Prince Alwaleed, Kingdom Holdings, the two Fairmont hotels, we literally bought one day after Nirvan's birthday, 16th of March. And COVID happened when? 17th of March. People would look at us and think that, oh my gosh, these guys are crazy. Are they crazy of just getting into this investment? But you know what? We looked at that as an opportunity. An opportunity to be able to turn around that investment which was suffering. Okay, and today, those two properties are one of the most prominent properties in Kenya. And we struck a beautiful deal. But, where there's a risk, there's a high reward. And I think CG has always played on that track. And I think we've emerged relatively better. and improving as we go along.
Yeah. And I think what I take away from that is one is, of course, Binodji's vision and his risk-taking ability.
Absolutely.
Not only risk-taking, but ability to see that, yes, I can take this risk and turn it around,
Yes.
whether himself or his sons or the team can turn it around. But also as important is the fact that we are all in Nepal. And नेपालको पानी खाँदाखेरि पनि विदेशीले पानी खायो भने पनि भोलि डक्टरका जानुपर्छ भने the environment is such that we are immune, is the word you use, to be able to take that risk. If we were all in Switzerland, for instance, and you were all a Swiss family, it would be very difficult for you to say, okay, we're going to go into Sri Lanka and buy a property, a few months after they burnt all these planes in the airport and everyone seems to be running out of this place and we want to go into this. It's a fire, like the fireman does. Everyone's running out of the building, he's running in to save lives. So I think Nepal has also gives us that resilience. Okay? हाम्रो in वातावरण त्यस्तो छ कि there's no, the system is what you make of it भन्ने जस्तो हुन्छ के हाम्रो चाहिँ.
Absolutely. And all this, and it does make a big difference, and these kind of environments really prepare you.
Yeah, I think so. So we come to you, which is somewhere in the middle, India, but it's the biggest booming. For Nepal, of course, the most important trading partner, but in terms of the global perspective, also the biggest booming economy. Not only the economy, but right now, I think I've never seen India at this point as a global leader. Modi ji is there, the team is there. India is completely different than what it was 20 years back or 15 years back in terms of global perspective, in terms of opportunities, I think. I remember I grew up in Delhi. I went to school in Delhi.
SRCC, right?
No, first I went to British school. I went into Delhi. And then I went to FMS to do my MBA.
Right.
Okay, but when I was in school, we used to go to, it was Gurgaon then, to hunt. There was nothing there. There was ponds and there were ducks. And we used to hunt, literally with shotguns. We used to hunt ducks in Gurgaon. And on the way back, have this good guru that they used to make there. And all. Now, of course, they've renamed it Gurugram. But just seeing that, Gurugram and Noida and the whole of Delhi come up. We were in Delhi before the first Asia when they were like
Asia Games.
The Asian Games, along the Kiran Bedi was the thing, So we've seen Delhi boom like that. And then now it's on an exponential growth track. So what is it like to be heading the CG businesses there, where now there are so many big fish and the fish are getting bigger and there are more opportunities, but of course I'm sure there are more challenges. So what is it that you look at when you look at India from the CG point of view?
Thank you. I want to say something on record. I have 4 C's about you. Charismatic, colorful, champion of relationship, and Sora, because my dad treats you like one.
Thank you. Yeah.
So these 4 pillars defines you, and
thank you so much.
What you give to us is something so deep and meaningful.
Thank you.
So this relationship that you've kept consistently, be it any occasion, be it any function, be it any important occasion, the first person who reaches out to us personally is you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, God bless you.
If you don't reach out to your brothers, who do you reach out to?
No, absolutely. And you know what? You do it with so much of affection.
Yeah.
It takes you so long to probably type that message, but that message, each word has some meaning to it.
Thank you.
So how you do it, that's why I champion a relationship. A little bit about myself. We all went to boarding school.
Yeah.
So our fraternity actually grew at a very early age. Because when you're left in the sea of sharks, who do you
exactly.
Who do you look at?
Yeah.
You only protection at some point. So I was the lucky one because I came in last. But still, going at the age of 6 was also
not easy.
Not easy.
So all of you went
at the age of 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't easy at all. But boarding schools played the strongest foundation in our lives, at least in my life. And coming from Nepal, in Dehradun, you've been to Dehradun.
Yes. I studied in Mussoorie.
You studied in Mussoorie. Okay, great. Before British school.
Yeah.
Okay. So, people there always had this thing that, Nepal produces some great sportsmen.
Okay. Yes.
And luckily, we all were relatively, good at sports, be it football, hockey, athletics, basketball, cross country. So, we all were. So, because of being sportsmen, we were liked. Because we had that sportsman spirit as well.
Yeah.
So, our boarding school
Yes.
sort of phase went by so well that, we learned so much. And, the best thing we sort of grew out of the boarding school was friendship. Till date, my best friends are from a boarding school.
Boarding school. Yes.
So my life started right after class 12 when I passed out from Doon. Went to Dubai for a holiday. And in Dubai, that 3 days break after my boards got converted into a business trip, because I said, if there's any place in the world I want to live, it's here.
Okay.
So at the age of 18, I don't know what came to my mind. I think it was nuts.
Oh.
But, I said, this is where I want to live.
Yeah.
So my father's like, let's explore.
Yeah.
And we made our first investment in 2004.
Okay.
So, which is about 21 years back.
Yeah.
So 2004, and then that's how we made the first real estate investment. I went to States after that. Again, did the mopping and making
Yeah,
pretzels,
yes.
but whatever.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I always wanted to join business.
Hmm.
I said, either you are in Harvard, Wharton, Yale, or you are in your
Yes.
office under your father.
Yes.
So the University of Binod Chaudhary became
exactly
a super Ivy League.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yes.
we were about 18 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
So at that age, at that formative phase of our life, I used to at least tag with him in all the meetings with the big boys there, don't know what to say, what to speak, when to speak, so just observation.
Yeah.
Observation is something
Yeah.
that taught us so much.
Yeah.
So my life started from Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And like how Japan was my dad's B school,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So Dubai was my B school.
Okay. Hmm.
And my toughest years of my life, where the quote of survival of the fittest comes, is when the meltdown happened, the global recession
Yes. Yeah.
in 2008.
Oh yeah.
And Dubai was hit hard.
Oh yes.
Back then we had invested in buildings, constructing buildings, bought an island.
Mm.
We were all over. So our idea was how to keep the capital intact.
Mm.
So it took me years, but what it taught me was that at a point of adversity, a problem, the only person who can help you is you.
Okay. Yes.
So that taught me what and how you should function and not depend on anyone when you are in trouble.
Mm.
The whole country,
Yes.
the whole world was in trouble.
trouble,
But
exactly, yes.
how you managed it and you swam through it. That's how
Yeah.
sort of it sort of stands you out from the rest of the crowd. I moved to India in 15, and by then we had more or less managed Dubai, and I saw that Wai Wai was a cult,
Mm.
a big cult.
Yes.
That moment you say that, because I knew that at least in boarding school, Wai Wai was a currency for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We used to make
for
our
all
way
of
in,
us. Yes.
for all of us.
Yeah.
But when in Delhi, and you know how Delhi is.
Oh yeah.
Moment you say that, oh, you're from the Wai Wai family. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Wai Wai?
Yeah.
So that brand building of Wai Wai had already
Happened. Yes.
happened. It's also because of all of us. We used to
Yeah.
take
Yes.
noodles to boarding schools, and
Everybody,
all of us were
everybody.
ambassadors.
Absolutely,
It didn't have one ambassador, that were
Yeah.
thousands, 10,000, lakhs ambassadors.
In fact, there was a thing, Wai ambassadors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So after coming to India, I could see that that's when Prime Minister Modi, he had come to power and he had a certain vision, and I realized that India is the place to be.
Okay.
Like what you said,
Yes. Yeah.
we could see the opportunity. We could see the market space. We could see the potentiality of how the noodle sector in India, from where it is versus where it can be, that gap,
Yes.
we could clearly see. In India itself, we have 13 plants now.
Oh. Okay. Nepal ma katiwata sir?
We have 4 locations.
Okay.
We have about same,
All
about
right.
9-10 plants.
Oh.
Okay, now from India, we are now in 50 countries.
Yeah.
Then we branched out to Bangladesh. We branched out to Serbia for the European market. We branched out to Kazakhstan and now to Egypt.
And in each of these places, you have a plant that you're
Yes, now
producing.
Egypt
Wai
is
Wai.
coming end of this little maybe third
Yeah.
quarter, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, the point I'm trying to make is that I'm the one who's actually lived away from the family the longest.
Okay.
But as the virtue of nature, maybe I also look after the cement vertical.
Okay.
And moment our plant came into operation, that's when the market crashed.
Yes. Yeah.
And my construction phase was during COVID. And I had got into a massive accident,
Yes. I know. Yeah. My
bedridden
God.
for 6 months,
Oh yeah.
right? While the construction
God
was
is
happening.
great, eh?
God is
That
great.
is- it's-
So
it's-
imagine a life in Dubai, going to Delhi, and straight away being packed to Palpa.
Wow. Yes.
And I stayed put for 3 months right after my accident. I could feel the local energy there. I could feel that what nature is and what Nepal, I mean, the richness Nepal has. So because of my cement stint, which is still going on, we've now become the largest in cement in Nepal, by the way.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Congratulations. Yeah.
So I've got my cement on one hand. I've got my Wai Wai outside of Nepal on one hand. We've also just concluded a acquisition in Europe.
Okay.
And now we'll be getting into retail and we'll be adding several new categories
Okay. Oh.
other than noodle.
Uh-huh.
So we will be a true food company in a true sense.
Okay. Okay.
So there's lots happening. Obviously I can't divulge the name
Yeah, yeah.
right now, but
Yeah.
lots happening. We've also just concluded a snacks deal where we're getting into digital snacks. I also look after the agro, mega food park, real estate in India. We've just signed a project in Siliguri, in fact, right attached to Nepal. So I actually look at opportunities to keep coming back to Nepal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And off late, like how Rahul was mentioning that, hospitality. So, I've just got involved and I'm actually loving the space
Okay.
in terms of the hospitality space because it's all about people's person. I mean,
Yeah.
handling people.
Yeah.
So I feel that, I'm good at handling people like you,
Yeah. That you are. Yes.
So
The relationships you have in India for anybody is phenomenal, but for someone from Nepal to go from the Doon school days onwards, and we keep seeing you in social media with the who is who, let's say, and all, and it's not easy.
It's not easy.
and it's not easy to do that. And
and most of my time actually goes in PR.
yeah, one of the things Binod ji says is your net worth is directly related to your network,
Yeah.
and that network has to be a positive network.
Absolutely.
It can. You need to have fun and you need to think, but
Yeah.
if that's your only network is the people you party with,
Party.
unless of course you're partying with Jack Ma in Las Vegas or something like that, then it's but that's really phenomenal. So you're based now still out of India?
Out of it, I live in Delhi, but I'm never in Delhi
Oh,
because I'm traveling all the time.
yeah.
And one of the things which I also want to highlight is, I co-founded the Cine Circle Filmfare Award for Nepal.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's to promote the movie industry here
Yeah. Yeah.
because of our relationships, obviously in Bollywood.
Uh-huh.
So we, me and Dinesh Rishi, we constituted this award ceremony, and consistently year after year,
Yeah.
we've been recognizing the talent here. And let me tell you, the Nepalese talent, the talent we have in this country is phenomenal.
Okay. Wow.
I landed yesterday at 6 o'clock from Bhairava. So my brother had just come to this concert right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, no, we got backstage. So I rushed.
Yeah.
So I went there. I saw Durgesh Thapa perform, the stage king.
Yes.
I could not believe my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
I saw John Rai perform. I could not believe, the kind of voice he has.
Yeah.
So, we are all blessed with so many talents. We are blessed with Pashupatinath,
Yes.
the greatest blessings.
Yeah.
That has kept all of us intact.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree with that. It's unfortunate. I think after banking, 31 years in banking, 17 years CEO, twice in Nabil. I now have this leadership academy, this Lead Nepal Inc. Because I believe the one thing that is missing in Nepal, the void, is not हाम्रो पसिना बगाउने क्षमता, हाम्रो बुद्धि चलाउने क्षमता, यो सबै छ युवाहरूको हामी चाहिँ, तर त्यो नेतृत्वको अभाव
छ।
leadership
The leadership.
the leadership as you said, the Binod Chaudhary University,
Exactly.
you go to Harvard, you read in a case study
Yes.
about what people like Binod Chaudhary did, you start, how many
And they've
people
done
have
that, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then how many people have the thing? That leadership void is, where there is that great leadership, you can see things just clicking. And where there isn't, no matter how much money you're pumping in or whatever you're doing, we build 2 phenomenal airports. Now, can you imagine? Just imagine if we under Binodji had built this airport, and after building, we had said, well, actually, we forgot to think where the planes are going to come from. What would have happened to us? If we had opened a tea shop, and we said that we forgot to see where the people would come to drink tea, would have been taken to task. I mean, this is where the leadership void is, and the visioning to say, okay, everyone's running out of Sri Lanka, I'm getting into Sri Lanka. And then turning it around and making it one of the best properties.
No, and this is
everybody talks
exactly
about.
like how you keep saying. I've actually heard you. I've seen you talk in most of your leadership programs. You talk a lot about that.
Yes, yeah.
That he's actually been a prime sort of a role model for you.
Yes, yeah.
So imagine that even, let's say, for you, if he's made that impact, we live with him.
Exactly, yes.
So till the time he doesn't go off to sleep, imagine the amount of extraction we do.
Exactly. Or whether you want it or not, how much input he must be giving you as well. No, but one thing I having worked with the family very closely, which I think is quite unique to 3 brothers, is the cohesion you have, the synergy that you have. There is literally, no friction. Let's say no, this is my no. The way that you work together, even in professional colleagues, having headed banks, you find it very hard to build that synergy. People are trying to knock each other off, pull each other's legs, so on and so forth. But as brothers, I mean, how is this always been so? Was it because you all went to boarding school to Dune in a young age? How do you guys literally love each other so much? Yeah?
This is the convergence of democracy. Let him answer.
I think being an older brother,
Buddha bhako bhero bhanera.
I won't say that it's not my moral obligation or duty, but you're right. Boarding school definitely did play a role in it. We all, that we all growing up together, and plus our age difference is also not that much. So that definitely played a role. But I think right from a very, very young age, one thing after we got into business, there's been complete clarity into the kind of businesses you're involved in.
Okay.
Like, my father keeps giving example of South Korea with the chai balls, like Samsung, this, that. Diversified businesses. If they wanted to conquer the world, they had to specialize and grow. And I guess from a very early age, there was complete clarity to a large extent, that, okay, let's specialize in this. So, for example, when I moved back to Nepal, and I was in hospitality for a small stint, and then Rahul looked after hospitality from there. Wherever I would then go for my particular business, because I would always keep an eye out for hotel pani opportunities, and I would always try having some discussions for hotel, and if it made sense, then I would introduce them because he specializes in that. So I think that kind of understanding between us has always been clear. Like, I've been involved in global foods from a very, very young age. From the first plant in Nepal, going and doing the Stoneling Foundation to more or less starting every plant in India up until 2018, starting the Serbian plant to the Bangladesh plant, which my father still talks to me about, because that plant was put without even exporting any goods to, because of the high duty, right? So, but at that time, 2018, I realized Varun's based in Delhi. He's understood India well. He wants to also now get involved in bigger businesses, wants to grow. So it became a natural decision for all of us to say, hey, let's give the global food aspirations to Varun. Let's try and grow that business globally from Delhi under Varun's leadership. So that's what happened. Similarly, like Rahul's growing really, really fast in hotels, multiple brands, multiple partners. And Varun obviously has an excellent PR and relations. So, somewhere or the other, obviously leveraging each other's strengths is what's worked really well. So the day you realize, or if you got an ego that I know everything, मलाई मनै हो सबै कुरा, that's the
म दाइ हो भाइहरू हो मेरो कुरा सुन then you I think yeah
त्यो पनि to a certain extent respect बाट होला. But in terms of your competency,
Yes.
I only know everything, I only do
Yeah.
everything, you're finished.
no.
You must be able to recognize each other's strengths, weaknesses. In the weaknesses, try and fill that void, be there for each other. And more importantly, again, while individually our businesses would be, there's complete alignment that has happened, our larger goal is the same. But even one very good thing that we did was, we got in some really, really senior resources from PwC, IIM, professors who specialize in family constitution,
Okay.
family run businesses, guys who've done it for some of the biggest business houses, business families in this part of the world. And we actually, there is no single formula of that family constitution. Every family is different, everyone's vision is different, everyone's appetite is different, everyone's chemistry is different. So there was a proper team of professional people who worked with us, not only us, our spouses, my mother, my father, for I think for 2 years at least. Day
2
and
years
night
it took to
interviewing
get it
us,
together.
this, that, engaging with us to then come up jointly, all of us, with a family constitution.
Okay.
Under that, we have a business council, which we have chairman's council, and we have MD's council. So a lot of things that I'm doing, that's the forum for me to discuss it with my brother, saying, hey, I'm doing these other things. This is the cash flow situation. This is the goals I have, and vice versa. So having very disciplined processes in place, right? Having that faith and confidence into each other, recognizing each other's strengths. With the business council, we have something known as the ownership council, which is part of that. Then we have something known as spousal council, family council.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which is under the chair is my mother.
Okay.
And that includes all the housewives as well. So there's a complete roadmap that we've, I think, more or less done, where CG is an institution like the Tata Trust.
Yes.
So tomorrow, whether our kids want to join business or not, that institution is going to keep on growing. That institution will never fall. So that, I think, has been a remarkable step that my father, all of us have sort of done timely. Okay?
Yeah.
Clarity,
Yes.
acknowledging each other's strengths, and most importantly, that communication should always be there.
Yeah.
And you have to enjoy the process and have fun. Okay, so we are really one of the things that three of us haven't done yet is, one of the points in our constitution is, three of us need to go on a brotherly retreat
Oh.
without spouses.
Okay.
Right? We've
We were
not been
going
able
to do that the last time, but then my third baby was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couldn't go.
So so we are putting all these things in place, and I think over the period of time, once there's total clarity on your work, on how you're gonna, on your way forward, and more importantly, he lives. We don't see each other so often. So when you don't see each other so often, you miss each other.
Yeah.
And instead of living in the same house, and so that has also been, I think, another blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah, I know. I was telling the team here, the three of them are here. This is the time. They've said,
Right.
we've got to do
And
it now.
I'm
you
leaving
know?
tomorrow.
I know. You came in yesterday.
I
You're
came in
leaving
leaving
tomorrow.
tomorrow. I'm also
And
leaving
so
tomorrow.
that's I really know that. And what I really like is 22 billion, right? Forbes, right? 22 billion.
billion.
Hey, 2 billion.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
I think you're talking about rupees.
Oh, sorry. 2 billion. $2 billion. Okay. The billionaire is now $2 billion, it says. I'd like to tell everybody, the three brothers came not in 3 Range Rovers, but in a small car driven by one brother, and with the two sitting there, and all
He's
chatting
always the
away.
designated driver for
Exactly, chatting away and coming together, utilizing that time. That's what shows me. Okay, that's what shows me that there is a bond that starts with love, brotherly love, and then there is business, and then there is all this thing that has happened, and so on and so forth, and all that. But many, whether they are come from $2 billion families or not, when you call three brothers, they will come differently. And that although the business is together, so on and so forth, if the love, it's not, the seed is not love, which I see in all three of you, and then of course in your families as well, that's what it comes from. Now talking about families, सबैजनाको 24 घण्टै हुन्छ दिनमा. I don't think CG brothers have 28 hours, and you have 24 hours. You all are family men. I love that about you. You're all family men. Someone written books also, and whatever. But I see the love you have for the spouse, for the children. How do you manage that time? I know it's difficult. How do you manage that time? Especially you. You're all over the place.
I'm all over there, so I probably must be getting abused the most.
Uh,
But whenever I'm in Delhi, I make it a point that I'm home by a certain time, and at least the evening and the night, I'm there. And the weekends, I try to be in Delhi as much as possible.
okay.
So that's how I sort of cope up with my family time and also my OTT Netflix time.
Okay.
That's
also very
that's
important.
that's
Yeah.
I feel that's essential there.
Yeah. You need that me time also.
You
with
need that
all-
me time,
yeah.
but still, a lot of, because our business is on 24 hours.
Yeah.
And especially, because I deal a lot with my Europe and
Yeah.
Africa, the time difference
Yes.
also just sways you to a different momentum.
Yeah.
So I tend to, balance as much as possible. But I think work takes away all of it. But at least, I end up taking vacation twice a year
Okay.
to make up for all the loss.
Yeah.
But by and large, 16, 17 hours,
Wow.
at home, outside, office, traveling, goes on in one common vision, which is taking Nepal to the world.
World. Yeah. Taking Nepal to the world.
Just there, I'll just like to add, having been he's also stayed in Nepal, and I've also actually spent a lot of my time in Nepal. And actually, I was in New York. I was in New York in 2006. I still lived there. Then I moved to Dubai. Then I went to Singapore. Then I went to Delhi, Nepal. And now, so I have been through fairly, I would say, the life and the challenges in all of these countries. And what I've also realized is that Nepal as a country, what I feel personally, is usually a very, very high pressure and stressful environment. And hats off to him that he's done it for 25 years. I mean, concurrently. My father, my parents, right? And just recently, as I mentioned, I moved with my family to Dubai. And I can say that, you mentioned that you only have 24 hours in a day. I still travel, if you ask me, at least 3 weeks, at least minimum 2 weeks in a month, to all different locations all around the world, from Philippines to China to New York. But I'm able to allocate time for myself, for my family, for my work, as well as for my socializing when I'm in Dubai. I think it also makes a big difference where you are and what sort of an environment you are in. We all know about how things are in Nepal. You virtually never sleep.
Yeah.
Out here it's more about fixing problems, we call him our family's fixer,
Fixer.
And he spends,
Yeah.
poor fellow, he spends most of his time just fixing issues, and which is unfortunate in a place like Nepal. And whereas you're working, that the potential is huge to grow here in every sector.
Yeah.
And collectively as a group, we are doing that. But by the time you are home, you are literally exhausted. So forget about spending any quality time with your spouse or your kids or whatever, and then you just want to retire. I think it also makes a big difference. Having understanding wives, and they do understand that the sacrifices we are making too. It doesn't cut only one way, right? We are, all three of our wives are working in their own respect while handling the most important job, that is running a house and children. And they understand, and they are very supportive that they have a work. Someone's got to do it. They have a work to do. And yes, and always, I ask my wife all the time, I'm sure they do the same. Oh, what can I get you for a gift? And I ask my daughter, now my eldest daughter is now 8 this year, right? We only want you. We only want to spend time with you. And I know that as you, evolve as a father as well. Now I have a third daughter, blessed with a third daughter. I think the importance of balancing is even more important. So I think I have, over a period of time, managed to bring in that, at least trying to bring in that balance as much as I can. And because it's important, especially in a family like ours, which was initially dominated by 4 men and a woman. Now we are overpowered with literally how many? Like
nine
5,
women
6,
and
7, 8, 9. Nine women.
Yes.
And if we don't give time to them, then God help us, right? So it's important also in a family like ours,
Yeah.
So I completely I resonate a lot with what Rahul's talking about, having that we are able to. It takes that effort, but we are able to find time and balance things out. But also, like Varun said, for us, it's I think even in our sleep and dream, it is something is being planned.
Yeah. The numbers are
Something is being done. So it's that constant thing. But two things I've started to do, which has really helped me, is when I'm with my kids or family, for me, keeping gadgets away, keeping phone away, and just being there in the room and making that constant effort of doing that has really, really helped me. I leave no chance if I get to even go see my kids or spend time with my family a little bit more. You try and have at least one meal a day in the evenings. Saturday, it's for me pretty much non-negotiable now that I don't really allocate that day for work. It's my kids own that day. It's their right. But the fundamental thing for me, what has changed is how has really helped me to bring in that sanity and that peace of mind is, last 15 years of every day doing the Sudarshan Kriya.
Okay.
Every day, carrying that out with some kind of surge meditation. You do it in the morning, and I would say it's brought in a tremendous, see-through, life-changing value add in my life. Shri's
Yes, yeah.
Sudarshan Kriya.
Yeah.
And I think the other 50% is also, I don't want to say this, and I rarely speak about my wife, but having the right partner in your life is already 50% of your battle won. And I must give the credit to my wife who really, really has provided the right values, spends time with the kids, given them the right set of, being with them. And I can see that with Rahul's wife and Varun's wife as well, the same. But they played such an important part. And because that 50% is right, we're able to push the boundary into achieving our professional goals and aspirations much more faster.
I so agree with that, because I also say the same thing when I was in the bank. They say, what I say, I'm able to give all this time because there's someone else looking after everything else in my life, whether it's my kids' education, whether it's even, the clothes, the house, the everything, the pets, everything is being looked after. त्यहाँ पनि tension छ. यता पनि tension छ भने then I think then there's going to be, you're going to go for some sort of heart attack sort of situation. And I really see that in your 3 families, it's this thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just reminiscing, taking cue from what I said that, I've been the one who's always lived away.
Yeah.
That you'll be surprised that, I've been so fortunate last couple of years that it's me who's been spending most of the time traveling with my father now.
Okay.
So that, that vacuum of time which was missed earlier, that father-son relationship, I think that is also equally important. So let's not forget that as well.
Yeah.
So, I traveled with Europe, all over India, Dubai, Africa, Egypt, and he's a different person when you're traveling with him.
No, because of his
No,
Yeah.
it comes to the same. Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, if I
He's a different person.
Yeah.
also his age and also his priorities are now into, he really wants to do something for the country. So his role as a member of parliament, as a parliamentarian in his own constituency. So his 24 hours or 30 days a month has anyway gone down to 15 days. Now, in that 15 days, his age, I would say take another couple of days, because his now main thing is to travel to go and see his grandchildren.
Yeah.
I want to go and spend time in Dubai with Rahul, but it's actually to see my grandchildren. Let me go and spend some time in Delhi, and my mother also. While we'll get our work done, but it's also to spend time with the grandchildren. And then whatever is the remaining time he has, he wants to be able to focus and spend as much time, with Varun or wherever we have our areas where we need his guidance, and that he's able to do.
So we talked a lot about Binod Ji. He's my godfather, he's my mentor as well, and that's great. But there is another half to the equation. Your mother. Let's talk a little bit about her. What impact has she had, and her, the input she has from childhood to now, to making you the outstanding men that you are today?
I think Rahul will be in the best position to say this on both our behalves also. He's, I think, spent most time with my mother, and I think we always joke around that my mother's most fond of him. I think, but he'll be, but
equally.
but whatever he says, I think he'll be able to do justice to
Okay, let's hear it.
the importance
from
that
Mama's
she has
boy.
in her.
No, so from a very young age, I've had bronchial asthma.
Okay.
Okay, and I think the most amount of there were nights, several nights, I would say, where I would really go through a difficult time, right? And when I say difficult times, meaning that I used to keep an injection in the fridge.
Oh my God.
And my mother had to literally rush me to the hospital, Patan, all the time. I mean, quite often, I would say. So, my childhood bonding with her really started with that notion, whereby, obviously, you can imagine when a child is very young and they're going through a case like bronchial asthma, and it's very uncertain, and you have to keep taking them to the hospital, and it's not easy. So, I also spent a lot of time with my mother growing up, and, my mother is a very, very soft person. I remember even till we went to university, she would still get emotional. But, she's a very, very strong woman as well. The side of her, emotional side is there, but that strong woman side of her is also there. And so, yes, I do have a very strong connection with my mother because of that. But having said that, parents, it was actually a very, I would say, important moment. Nirvan went to boarding school when he was 6, right? Then it was my turn 1 year later. Now at that point, and my father has said this quite often as well, and in his book as well, that they had to make a decision whether to send me to boarding school, and they would be worried out of their lives all the time what is going to happen, right? Because my mom used to be there all the time. So there was that comfort and that safety. Or you send him so that he doesn't feel inside that, he was not given the opportunity to go to boarding school or be like one of them, right? But they took that plunge, I would say. And of course, I remember, till today, every time I would go to school, she would be, howling. But I think that was also the turning point, I would say, once I went to school, and then I also learned to live with that and outgrow that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, played a lot of sports and was relatively representing in competitive arenas in the school as well. So it was important from that perspective of, until today, my mom will always say that, oh,
Yeah.
are you?
Okay.
And also my mom took me, I remember, Hyderabad, there was this, there's this family called the Gout family. Every year on the 6th or 7th of June, when there's a special full moon night, what they do is that this family makes a special herb or whatever that they put on top of a live fish.
Oh.
And
In
then
the
you
mouth,
open your
mouth.
mouth and they release the fish so that the fish wiggles on your air passage
Okay.
and millions and millions of people have got
Okay.
healed because of that.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately for my case, it was a little bit different. I had a very traumatic incident after that, which was quite bad. Anyway, the bottom line, I don't mean to digress, but yeah, so I did have a very strong connection with my mother at a very, very young age because of health. But I think it was also both of them that helped me overcome what I have and use that to my advantage and outgrow. Because as Varun mentioned, which was very important, that we all have been sportsmen. And sports teaches you teamwork. It teaches you to strategize. It teaches you to rise above obstacles and adversity. And all these are important in business. And we've learned, and I think more so because of my health, I think I have learned more and more. So, of course, I have a lot of credit to give to my mother and my father, and I think my mother loves all of us equally. Has a sweet spot for all of us. I from frankly feel that she has the sweetest spot for him because he's the youngest one, and why not?
Yes.
That's very normal for the family to have the youngest one to be the most loved one.
By the way, they still haven't broken his football record in Doon school. Till date.
Okay. Oh.
I think he scored what, 52 goals in
46 and 23 games.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
So again, why I said that was you hear about the 43 goals in 26 matches. But what goes on to making that person hitting that goal, I think should answer your question.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only in our lives, I think we've seen it. Putting for her, my mother's one agenda is putting the family together.
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
And her one agenda is constantly not telling us that, oh, wow, great work, whatever. If you do 10 things, out of 10 things, if you do 9 things right, one thing wrong, she will go after that one thing. Why haven't you done this? What's the status on this? What's the status on this? Even messaging or calling or asking at night about all that. So, and even my father's elections, I think she played a very, very important role and continues to. I think she has now found a passion in working with the women group in the constituency and doing some phenomenal work over there.
No, I also find that, sometimes you hear a lot about one spouse and because they're much more in the public arena and all, but then when you get to know a little more, you see, it's a wonderful big vehicle, but petrol to chahiye the fuel comes from, I think in your family, your mom is definitely that power, that engine. What about yourselves as fathers? How would you rank yourselves? I mean, do you do enough? I always felt, what you said is so true. At one point, my daughter said, I think we should have a rule that when we're together, we don't have the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, we're all in the same room, but then we're on different devices, and that really helped because then you actually have conversations and you spend time, quality time. And even if that's 45 minutes, that's 45 minutes actually together. Rather than 3 hours we were together and, 2 hours, 45 minutes we were on our own devices. So how do you as you're all fathers, loving, wonderful, great, whatever.
In all honesty, I think I should be doing more
Okay.
in terms of giving time.
Mhm.
But we've seen the cement industry, which
Yeah.
what we've gone through.
Yeah.
My time sort of was more required here because the cement vertical actually plays a very, very big role in terms of overall group's position as well.
Yeah.
So at one point, everybody's focus sort of was
Yeah.
on cement. So that took away a lot of my time. But being honest to myself, a lot of room for improvement, as they say.
Yeah.
Would love to spend more time.
Time.
See, the way, if I may, if you ask me, I would have obviously liked to have spent a lot more time with my father. We all went to boarding school in class 1 when we were 6, right? And for 8 months in a year,
Yeah.
I mean, we were literally in school. Yeah, they would come for the Founders' Day and so on and so forth to meet us. And I think it also goes back to the same point I made initially about sacrifice, you see. And if our parents had not done what they did at that point in time, I don't think we would have been the people that we are or where we are as a group today. You must remember that. I'm sure, my parents also would have loved to spend time with us. I'm sure my dad also would have loved to, go for holidays with us all the time. But there was that luxury was not there when my father and my parents, what we have today. Now, if you'll ask me, would I send, or I think even them, our children to boarding school at the age of 6? Hell no. Times have changed, and I think the global scenario has changed in terms of education and how it has evolved. Now, having said that, of course, like Varun mentioned, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Right? You always aspire and you always want to do more and more. And like I said, our kids and our wives, all they want is to spend time with us because time is very, very important. So yes, I would love to be able to spend more time and more so without distraction.
Yes.
Because even though I am there, one thing that my wife does really well is also because she's also an ardent follower of Shri Ravish Shankar. So she's spiritual and she's balanced and she's, I would say, more peaceful. Whereas I'm all over the place as, at least me. And that mind, I'm trying to find a way how I can channelize to be there in that moment itself. But having said that, I would also like to, मलाई कस्तो लाग्छ भने आजकलको जमानामा kids have become a little bit too soft.
No.
हाम्रो टाइममा नि, we used to get स्कुलमा अब we are already out of school for now almost 25 years. If anything was going wrong, senior would come and give you one slap and you would be in place. You would not win the match, they would give you 2 and you would be. But that was we were being taught. Not saying that the kids today should be taught that way, but they still need to be taught a little bit how to be a little bit more strong. I believe that kids are in today's day and age a little bit more soft because of their exposure to the
iPad.
to the digital side of life.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think our wives are doing a great job in order to make sure that the children are given that attention. So they're playing a dual role of a father and mother.
Yes.
And given that due attention to make sure that they are on the right path.
Yeah. And I think our children, one of the things is also and I see it in your children, and I'm so fortunate in my daughter, is to keep them grounded and humble.
Yes.
When they start to feel I'm so and so's grandson or granddaughter, so and so's son or daughter, and that becomes the defining,
Moment.
brand moment of them that I am, then I think we are headed in the wrong.
Then trouble.
Then there is trouble.
You're absolutely right. If you ask me, I think that principle and that value
Yeah.
of not forgetting where we came from,
Yeah.
I think started from my grandfather and my grandmother. And they passed on that value to my father and his brothers as well. And I mean, we grew up in that. We all grew up in Tamil house,
Yeah,
as you know.
yeah.
And we were all of us were together. Like it was like a zoo.
Yeah.
All of us were there, and four fathers, my
Yeah.
father, chachas, and my grandfather. And my grandfather was, I would say, he was. My grandmother was the Iron Lady.
Okay.
And my grandfather was more the disciplinarian, but the quiet disciplinarian. So it obviously passed down, and I don't think we've ever had that issue or that air in us that, oh, we are,
Yeah.
from, of course, I mean, we have that pride
Right, of course.
that we are CG and we are from Nepal,
Yeah.
but never had that ego or that thing in our mind, oh, billionaires, and this and that, this and that in our minds at all. And luckily, I think we've been able to empower that in our younger generations as well. And they are very proud, and they always ask what all you are doing. Of course, I mean, when they, let's say, I mean, my daughters, when they go in the Taj, they look at that, oh, when they drive past the Taj, they're like, oh, that's the Taj. And my father is involved in that. And let's say they go to the noodle factory, in CGIP, then my daughter will eat that. Wai Wai. So, all of these things are important.
Yes.
And it only comes from right from the top. And for me, personally, while we are on this subject of fathers and values and principles, my grandfather was very, very special to me. I mean, he was really, really close to me personally. I mean, I really learned a lot from him. He was a very simple man who, I mean, never wore designer suits, and 2-3 suits he used to have stitched, and never always go to Pashupati for how many years? Almost 10-15 years every single day.
Yeah.
And I used to draw a lot of inspiration from him, and I remember going on trips. My father once sent me to China, and I was going to go in a shirt and jeans, and he immediately stopped me and he said, no, wear a coat and go for that visit. And I'm literally in school. So it all started at a young age to mold you to be responsible.
Yeah.
I think I ask myself this question most of the nights before sleeping. To my conscience, have I given adequate time, quality time to my family, to my kids especially? And most of the nights I can sort of say yes, I'm doing my best, and there is that acknowledgement. And there's no room to how much time you can spend. Time, but it's the quality of time what you're doing, right? So we're a business family. We want this legacy to continue.
Yeah.
It is also our responsibility to ensuring that our next generation are also starting to get exposure or understanding of what we do. So since the last, my daughter is 9, my son is 5, but my son's a car fanatic, like how he was when he was that age. And I take him for every single Motors launch. And now he's got to a point where he has to go on stage and speak as well. And he's that 5-year-old is quite good. So he's also slowly learning
You have
that.
to see him ride a car. It's
Like the
amazing.
go-kart.
And my daughter, I spend a lot of time in our factories, and I ask them, where do you want to go on holidays? They could choose anywhere, right? Maldives, Africa. And the first thing my kid says, we want to go to CGIP. Why? Because that's where we learn the most. You know, my daughter spends a lot of time in her R&D there, and she's come up with a new Rio Pina Colada, and then she uses ChatGPT to come up with the cover, and then she's used Suno to come up with the campaign, and then she showed me, you know, in the end of the CGIP trip, see what I've done. So I'm like, wow. You know, the fact that they're developing that understanding and that passion gets a smile in my face that, wow, maybe we're putting them on the right track to creating the next generation also into the family business legacy.
And they too, by the way, the most important aspect here is that the next generation are so close. And I've seen that special bond between all of them, which is really, really important. I mean, you know, my children, last they saw them was in December during New Year's. And this time they came to Nepal, my gosh, inseparable. That is very important, and that aspect should never die, you know. And then you'll feel within that you're probably doing something right, as he mentioned, you know.
Okay, so we talked about Binod ji, we talked about mom, but then of course, critical part of my life, your lives, everyone is our partners, life partners, our spouses. And I know, in my case, without Rati and what she does in managing that whole half of my life, I would not be able to do what I do with the rest of my life. What about you? What is the role of spouses? And I'm talking about spouse and you. We all talked about, you know, I was very thinking about children and. But what about you? The support, the
No,
partnership?
absolutely. I think if you have the right partner, right spouse, I think 50% of your life's battles are already won, right? And I'm very, very blessed to have gotten married to Ashraita. That too at the ashram, you know.
yes.
And Shri
yes.
got us married on May 13th.
Okay.
So May 13th in Hindi is Main Tera Tera Main.
May. Oh.
It's very special. But apart from that, I think I've not really said this, but I'm actually very, very thankful and proud of her. You know, she's obviously done her part in giving those right values, molding the kids, being there when I'm traveling, but also as an individual. I think over a period of time, you know, being married to a Chaudhary, especially in Nepal's context, is not that easy. You know, coming from having studied in LSE, etc., and then started her own retail business of Fab India, etc. She immediately started to get involved in different leadership podiums, forums, working her way up. But recently, you know, she started and founded the Nepal Super League with her brother. And both of them, I think, have done a phenomenal work. And their only objective, but because both of them are sports people as well, both of them's objective was youth development, Nepali youth development through sports. How do we play our part? And, you know, this is the third season, it's still going on. And right at even till now, people think it's a CG venture and all of that. And I have always, you know, hardly even gone to the games, etc., and not even supported them at all. You know, because I know it would be difficult for them, but they have got it to third season. Now Roberto Carlos is coming this year. Last year they had Drogba, who was the goodwill ambassador. Before that, Figo, and they've done this on their own. They're giving that exposure to the Nepali, you know, football players who have now gone outside, but they look forward to coming back when NSL happens. So doing great work, I think, making us all proud, making me proud. I'm learning a lot from her. You know, she's someone who is my biggest critic. I think that's so important. You know, most people would say yes to most of the things, but when something is right or wrong, she'll say it to my face, and I think I appreciate that about her. So it's a constant journey where, you know, we started off as friends and we become best friends now, and
Wonderful.
Hopefully, by the grace of God, life
True.
soulmates, as they say.
Yeah. What about you?
What do I say now?
Be very careful.
Be very careful.
Just trying to gather how many good things I can say.
He's asked you about your wife, eh?
And no, my wife. I mean, she's truly special.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And like I said, my journey with her started on the note of Shri Ravi Shankar.
Okay.
So the start was very, very important from her perspective. We met in Bombay through a common family friend.
Okay.
And the only reason, by the way, she met me was that, in my Facebook page, there were a lot of images of me, with Shri Ravi Shankar. So she decided, she must have thought that, this guy must have something in him with the blessings of Shri Ravi Shankar. So I truly am blessed from that perspective that she was blessed by Shri Ravi Shankar. And I remember that before we said yes to each other, we both went to Shri Ravi Shankar as well. And to her, that was really, really important, that aspect and that side of her. And during my heydays or my younger days, I was quite a interesting fellow.
Yeah. That's a good word to use. Yes.
I was quite an interesting fellow.
In other
And,
languages, they say painted the town red.
Red.
in our own times, right?
Yes.
And I think she really, really brought in that balance in my life, which was very, very important. Not that she also doesn't want to enjoy herself, but I think the focus and the balance that she brought in my life was very, very important, to understand the more things that matter.
Yeah.
And as a person, she's a very artistic and passionate individual. And she went to London School of Fashion. And thereafter, she worked with a lot of exemplary individuals in terms of arts and crafts and culture in Bombay as well as in Calcutta. And now she is heading one of the initiatives of Chaudhary Foundation, which is the
Unnati, yes.
Cultural Village, which focuses on this itself. And her objective here as well is to give a platform to aspiring artists. And she's done that this is the second year in a row, even in the Indian Art Fair, and made it a grand success. And she represents also Unnati in Tate Modern as an advisory board member. And she's now in the process of starting her own initiative called Saath. And so she's very creative and artisty that way. But what's most important is that I know that she has carried on the traditions and values and cultures of our Marwari community, And I see her always taking the lead from that perspective, and also my children. Educating them, because they are the ones who are going to be the bridge moving forward. And many of the things that she does, I still, like when you are in a puja, right? You sometimes don't know what exactly is being said. But she is quite into it. So it's quite touching, and it's quite important from our family perspective. So yes, I can say all the things like she completes me, and she balances me out. But all I can say is that I too am truly lucky to have her in the family and as my wife and my best friend, who's always pushing me to do more and aspire to do more. That's very important. And then she says that although I want to spend time with you, but I know why you are doing what you are doing. That's very important,
That's true. That is very true. And now
Right,
for the youngest perspective.
Right there. So, when we got married, the first thing was obviously, we got to become friends first.
Yeah.
More than anything. That supersedes everything. Second thing was, it's a leap of faith. When you get married, it's a leap of faith. So, Anushri comes from a very deep-rooted, value-driven family. Very strong value, strong tradition, and very spiritual. And she is a person who is that true balancing factor at home.
Okay.
Be it handling, let's say, the spouses of my friends, managing them,
No.
managing kids, managing the house, managing the in-laws,
Yeah.
managing brothers whenever they come,
Yeah.
their kids. So I think that's her prime. I mean, the primary is
Yeah.
home front and kids. So she does that with full marks. And other than that, she's also into jewelry and diamonds and colored stone.
Okay.
So she's a certified GIA,
Okay. Yeah.
and she was called the very tough negotiator when she used to go to buy diamonds.
Okay.
So when she used to go to Antwerp, so people used to call her, the tough ladies here.
Lady, tough lady.
So one thing which they've said is that everybody else around you will say yes to you. The only person who will say no is your better half.
Yes.
So most of the time when she says no, I don't even question that. I correct it.
Yeah.
So kids have turned 7 recently. Beautiful journey. And many more years to go.
Yeah. Decades and
Decades
decades
to go.
of joy to go. And it's amazing. Through this What's With, I really wanted to show the human side of the three of you because we hear a lot about Binod Ji and the Chaudhary family and the billions and so on and so forth. तर हामी कहिलेकाहीँ बिर्सिन्छौँ कि यहाँहरू पनि हामी जस्तै मान्छे हौँ नि अनि कसैको बुवा हौँ कसैको श्रीमान हौँ कसैको छोरा हौँ र त्यसको त्यो एउटा पनि आफ्नो जिन्दगीको एउटा एकदम अभिन्न अङ्ग हो कि र त्यो अङ्गलाई कति सेक्रिफाइस गर्नुभएको छ यहाँ पुग्नको लागि यो हामी सबैले पनि बुझ्नुपर्छ होइन बिङ अ ब्याङ्क प्रोफेसनल अल्सो ब्याङ्क अनिल शासी यो यति कमाउँछ यो बोनस खान्छ यो गर्छ बट वाट इज द सेक्रिफाइसेस द्याट वाज मेड एन्ड आई थिङ्क द्याट इज इसेन्सियल फर एभ्री वान टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड अल्सो यु क्यान मेक अ चोइस you can make a choice to do this, but when you do that, as I said, you get 24 hours a day. And offline, what we were saying, your work-life balance, it's nice to say, I'm trying to, but almost impossible to do in the sense where everybody is happy.
Impossible.
You may be happy with your work-life
Yeah.
balance, but your spouse, or especially if you have young children, definitely not. They would like to be with daddy throughout. When they understand, then it's a little thing, I know the turmoils you went through, which are very similar to me when I had a young daughter as a father, and everyone also, when you have to leave them and they're like, no, don't go. And, it's nothing breaks the heart more than that. But then, we should all realize that these are sacrifices that we make. And that's why I guess we are where we are. And CG is taking Nepal to the world and now bringing the world to Nepal as well. And that is truly phenomenal going forward. Now, we come to the fun part. The rapid fire round. So I have 5 questions for each one of you. And I will tell you.
Same question for each one?
No. I wish it was so simple life, different. But there is one question which is the same for everyone. And that I will tell you in front so that you can think about it, which is describe Binod Chaudhary in one word, an adjective, one word, not a sentence, not a paragraph, just one word. So we'll start with the eldest.
Start with the youngest.
You want to start with the youngest? Okay.
He's always the quickest.
So we'll go with the youngest with the first question itself. Describe Binod Chaudhary in one word.
Complete man.
Complete man. All right. I like that. Complete man. Yes. Second question. If you had to build your own startup outside CG, what would it be?
Something in foods.
Something in foods it would be. You're passionate about.
I'm completely passionate because I understand foods.
Yeah. Now I've seen some of the initiatives you've done with Wai Wai and all, and I really think so.
So something,
Yeah. Not only you understand food. I may be a foodie. I eat a lot, but you understand food from a market point of view. What the next generation wants. Yeah. That's great. Okay. Your brothers in one word each. One word for him. One word for him.
Partner in crime.
I like that.
Just one word, you could say a sentence as well.
You could say a sentence, okay.
And sportsman in crime.
He didn't know what to say.
Sportsman, okay. All right. So you'd like to be on his team, in other words. All right. Next question. The one moment when you thought, this is it, I've made it.
That moment's never come.
I love that. That's the answer I wanted. That moment is yet to
Yet
come.
to come.
Yes, that moment is, because once you say this moment, then you've summited.
Then you retire.
Exactly. All the summiters I talk to, Nims, Ningma, Mingma, they say once you reach the top, you enjoy, take a selfie, look around, but then you got to go down. You know?
Exactly.
So if you keep climbing, then the summit is still in front. Okay. And finally, for you, numbers or instinct? What drives you?
Instinct.
Instinct drives your decision. Okay. And then you follow it with facts.
Then I
and
follow
numbers.
it with numbers, obviously.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So the gut feel is
Gut
what
feel.
drives you. All right. Climbing up the ladder now. So. The most luxurious hotel you've stayed in that you didn't own?
I will say the most complete hotel.
Okay.
From every aspect. That would probably be the Narendra Bhavan in Bikaner. Beautiful, beautiful hotel owned by a dear friend.
Uh-huh.
And it was a hotel that was the house of the Maharaja. And they maintained that house right in the center.
Okay.
And they built a hotel all around it with every floor entering into that.
Oh, wow.
You must go. It's beautiful. And when I say a hotel, that's why I said a complete hotel.
Okay.
Operations, service, food, attention to detail, the quality of just the people. I mean, that to me is, I always say this, to me that's a beautiful hotel. And in the land of the kings.
Kings, of course. So if CG could acquire one global hotel chain, which one would it be?
Four Seasons.
Four Seasons. And why?
Because you see, that one brand, they have over 100 hotels now all over. It's owned majority by Bill Gates now, with Prince Al Walid. You know, that's one hotel group that is in some of the, probably the most iconic locations
Okay.
in the world, in every city. And hotel is all about location, location, location. And that company, you know, doesn't compete with the Amans or the Ritz-Carltons or the Peninsulas. They are in their own
Okay.
growth trajectory. And they know their space. They know their client. They know how to treat the client, and they know what their clients like.
Okay.
It's very simple. They're fundamental. Location, rest will follow.
So I think they should be aware. If you like them that much, that
I'm keeping a
knows what-
close eye
again,
in the future.
describe Binod Chaudhary in one word.
I don't know if I could do it. That's why I asked you whether I should say it in one
Go ahead. One
word, one sentence. You know, once he makes up his mind towards something, no matter what happens, he will
Make it happen.
no matter, and that comes with words of determination, passion, I mean, vision,
And ability.
and ability to see it through.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. And finally,
this is the
Nepal's
fourth one.
that was the fourth one. The final one is Nepal's hospitality industry in one word for you, or in one sentence. Let's say, what would you say?
Broken.
Broken.
And why I say that is because huge potential, huge potential in Nepal. I can list out all the reasons why, but I can also list out the reasons why also. And you know, for some reason we've not been able to get our act together. And what pains me is that all these youth that keep leaving, majority of them are, by the way, in the service industry.
Yes.
Okay, if they all leave, you can build the Four Seasons, you can build the Ritz-Carltons, you can build the St. Regis. But if you don't have people,
Yeah.
then all of this means, that's why I said broken. So it's a very important infrastructure is one aspect. Okay, but infrastructure means nothing without the right software behind it to take that infrastructure forward.
That is so true. Okay, great. That's your 5. And now we come to the biggest brother of them all. First of all, if you had to choose between legacy and innovation, what wins today? Legacy and innovation.
Innovation. Innovation. You have to always just keep reinventing yourself. Legacy
Okay.
will follow after that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. One business book you think everyone should read?
I'm definitely making it big.
Yeah.
But
Part two.
I don't want to promote my book.
Part 2.
But I think Jack Welch had a book. Should definitely read that book.
Okay.
It's more about an autobiography about his time of how he turned around GE.
Yeah.
I think that's a book that's really stayed in my mind a lot.
Okay. There we go. Jack Welch. Yeah. Which country do you think CG will conquer next?
CG conquering, Nepal conquering
Yes,
next.
absolutely.
See, we are for us. We always grow with the mindset of boundaryless world. Okay? So I wouldn't like to say a country that we'll conquer, but we're primarily focused and our for the next 5 years at least, we're in all emerging markets of the world.
Okay.
In markets that the big multinationals will not go to. So those are the markets for the next 5 years we want to conquer.
Yeah. I was with a bank where I grew my career, Standard Chartered, which also had the same philosophy that we want to be an emerging markets bank.
Even now.
Yeah, even now. They will not go to because one, the margins are good and they understand the risk, and so that's a great focus. So when you hear Wai Wai, what's the first image that hits your mind?
A brand that represents and brings us Nepalese together.
Yeah.
You talk about, when people talk about Buddha, talk about Sagarmatha. I think Wai Wai, with its own respect, has earned that brand, that it's a brand that represents Nepalese. It's a brand that represents us.
And I think, just to put a little more onto that is, whether you're up in Namche or you're in Pokhara or Bitamor or wherever you are, and Janakpur, you will find people eating Wai Wai, and in different ways. They prepare it slightly differently, different masala, different thing, but Wai Wai is always there, and it is that one thing that truly
Represents
binds.
us.
Yes, it represents us, and globally, of course, when you go out as well. And now the final question is the same thing. Describe Binod Chaudhary in one word.
I think both my brothers have put it well, but if I had to add on to that, a phenomenal negotiator.
Okay. Yes.
He's got that art of hitting not 2 but 3 birds with one stone.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I think there's a book called Art of Deal Making.
Yeah. That's
Not
Art
to-
of deal.
But yeah, he will hit 3 birds. He will think from angles that a normal person will not be able to think with. Long-term implications, immediate implications, what up. So that overall structuring, I think is.
And to that point, to add what you asked Varun about instinct and what is the numbers?
numbers.
He said instinct.
Yeah.
So that I think comes from my
Yeah.
father, who's done all the deals in his life. Well,
Instinctively.
initially,
Yeah.
at least. Now that things have
Yeah.
evolved, all gut feel and instinct.
But now that he's passed those values of instinct to us, his first thing to us is where the
Numbers.
numbers.
Where's the numbers? Oh, I know that for sure. Because people think Wai Wai was there since Nepal was made. But I remember when Wai Wai came, very few people ate noodles in Nepal.
Yeah, in
So-
85.
Exactly. And he created that market. It's not like it's many noodle companies are coming now because the space has been created and everyone's eating noodles. So instead of this, you would like this or this. But at that time it wasn't.
Yeah, he's at
and
the
he
time.
created that market, and that was instinct. And Wai Wai, was not booming.
Today's
when
the
he
world's
took it over.
foresight.
Yeah,
It's the world's
foresight.
top. Nepal's become the world's top 10 countries as the highest per capita consumption of noodles.
Noodles,
We have
exactly.
47
Yeah.
packets per person per year. China and Japan is at Korea exceeding 90
Yeah.
plus, 100 plus.
Yeah.
But we come in the world's top 10.
10, yeah.
So I think that culture really started
Yeah.
off early, and we've got to take it up to the next level for sure.
Exactly. And in everything, as I said, you can look at two sides, but I think it also helped the Nepali society evolve because it was a society where time was becoming more and more important and taste was becoming more and more important. So then Wai came at that point of time. Time was also saved. The taste became very savory as well to think. And just to talk about, I asked all of you what you would say about Binod Chaudhary ji in one word. For me, it would be someone who's an exceptional mentor. At times people think, oh, mentor is someone who always says, wow, you did well and you are great and you are the best. And no, that's not a mentor. That's great. But a mentor is someone who pushes you, who you always learn from, and not only from praise, but learn when you get, the harsh words also, you learn because it's never unwarranted harsh words. And I always say this, and I want to, come to the end by saying this. When I became the CEO, when he was appointed, Satyendra Pyaraji, former governor, was the chairman. And after about 2-3 months of becoming CEO of Nabil, I got a call from Binodji's office saying, Binodji would like to meet you. So I went and we sat down and he said, oh, congratulations, this, that, and all. So what are your plans and so on and so forth. And he had this little notebook. Not a Mont Blanc notebook, little notebook, that is on a stationery shop notebook, and a little dot pen, like a throwaway ballpoint pen. And while we talked, he was writing and so on and so forth. He said, okay, all the best, this, that, and all, gave his suggestions and all, and I went away. Then about 3 months later, again, got a call, please, can you come? So I went again. And I sat down, and he sat and said, how are you? I said, okay. Then he opened the note, and he said, okay. Last time we had discussed this and you had said this, how much of this is done? And then he smiled and he said, do you want a notebook? And I said, yes, because I had not written anything down thinking he's handling 100 businesses. The minute I walk out, another CEO is walking in, Dubai, this, that. What's he going to remember what he talked with me? He remembered everything. Okay. That is not the scary part. Then we were 4 years together. Then I went Mega Bank, 8 years, came back. Then again, he said, come back, let's do something. Boss was there. So again, we had this meeting. And we sat down, and what does he do? He takes out the notebook that was there the last time, 8 years ago, that we had that discussion, and he says, okay, this is where you left the bank, this is what we've done, now what are we going to do now? You don't become the top businessman, one of the top businessmen, top industrialists, top, mentors of the world by fluke. You do it by working very, very hard. And this is a man, Nabil is big, but he has much bigger things all over the world. But this is how he tracks it. And I tell this to everybody when I take leadership programs, and it wasn't a fancy, whatever, like we
there was
sometimes
no iPad or anything back
no,
then.
no iPad, no. Even
these
now he doesn't
smartphones.
like iPads. He likes his, when he's on the computer, he says, forget the get a piece of paper, he will tell him from time to time, because it's still the notebook. And it's just a normal notebook. It's not one of those fancy Cartier notebooks and a Mont Blanc golden pen. And people who do that are not billionaires. People who are writing on the normal notebook with a big pen is the person who's focused on what's in the notebook, not the notebook itself. I find too many people focused on making sure that the notebook is impressive and the pen is impressive and the content is not there.
But
So
just
for me, that's what it is.
actually, I really want to conclude or end our part by saying that, for us, our family, our reputation, our honesty, our credibility is paramount. It's something which no amount of Forbes can build. People come, make money, lose money, etc. But our real wealth, if you ask us as a family, is our relentless, honest hard work that each of us has put. And in times when, especially in countries like ours, when things get politicized, a lot of very popular term of stuntbaji, this and that comes. The first target is always trying to get people who've made it, people despite the challenges have made it, to bring them down. And us becoming stronger and stronger, is the only answer. Us growing despite of such
Adversity,
Yeah.
I think for us, our values of not following the path of Buddha, of really working hard and without hurting anyone. You wouldn't have ever heard of our family or my father going after someone, hurting. Never. We do our work, hard work. There are people trying to pull us down. We continue to move forward because we rather spend that time, instead of going down,
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And that's something we are really proud of.
So one is pulling you down, it means that you're doing something right.
Exactly. If that you're doing something right, and second is that they're below you, and that's why they're pulling you
No, but
down.
I really wish and hope that the youth, and there's phenomenal, our country has phenomenal people, hardworking, honest, resilient people going all over the world in top companies, building top businesses. Nepali
Yeah.
and most of them do understand. I hope some of them, out of that frustration, want to channelize that negativity in all of them. I hope one day wisdom prevails, and they're able to see what we are trying to do.
Yeah.
We are trying to all definitely make every Nepali proud.
Yeah.
It's no longer a company which is owned by the Chaudharys. It's a company
Yeah.
that represents Nepal.
Yeah.
It's a company that's taking our flag and our
Yeah.
everything. Whenever we go to some of the world's biggest events we are speaking in,
Yeah.
we are not known as Nirvan Chaudhary of Chaudhary. We are known as Nirvan Chaudhary, a company from Nepal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our moral obligations and duties are paramount
Yeah.
to that. And we'll continue to do that.
Exactly. And I think त्यो नकारात्मक सोच अहिले हाम्रो समाजमा जुन भइरहेको छ नि, रेस जित्ने हो भने आफ्नो खुट्टा मजबुत बनाएर होइन, उहाँको खुट्टा कसरी भाँचेर जित्ने भन्नेतिर हामी लाग्छौँ कि अधिकांश त्यो सोचबाट चाहिँ हामी अलिकति पर हुनुपर्छ कि मेरै खुट्टा मजबुत बनाऊ। ल विनोद चौधरीजीको 2 बिलियन रहेछ, म 3 बिलियन बनाएर देखाउँछु नि भनेर सँगै जाउँ। नेपालबाट एउटा मात्रै किन, होइन, 10वटा बिलियनियर होस्। अनि अर्को चाहिँ होइन, जे काम गरे पनि नकारात्मक सोचले हेर्ने हो भनेदेखि चाहिँ यु क्यान लुक एट इट ब्याडली। होइन, चौधरी फाउन्डेसन, आई नो हाउ मच गुड वर्क यु डु right from the grassroots level up, because I've worked very closely with the foundation. But a lot of people snigger. Why? You want to do better? Do it. Set up some other foundation. Do whatever it is. But someone is doing something. You promote it. You encourage them. Even if you don't say something good, don't say something bad. Just stay neutral. And I know from the sort of commitment that you have towards your businesses. I mean, you had a major accident that had you bedridden for a long time. You got up. If it was just look after yourself and all, or you with the asthma, you stay in Dubai only, don't go in. You stay in London or whatever it is. Stay. But then you come back here. You're doing cement. You're up in some town in Palpa, and that's the commitment. That's the thing of getting back on your feet and moving forward. My thing is not, people will say, oh, this guy is also now, he's just praising how much money did Chaudhary Group give Anil Shah to say all this thing. It's not that. My hope is, of course, that Chaudhary Group keeps doing better and better in all the realms that you do. But my hope is that in my lifetime, I see at least 10, if not 15, multinational Nepali companies that are in the world as well.
Yeah.
That is what we should learn and say, okay, this one company has done it. And so simply, you could have just relocated yourselves in some other country and become a multinational. But no, he's committed that I am a Nepali multinational company. So why don't we have 10, 12, 15 more? And if these discussions brings the sparks in people's eye, yes, we can do it. Why not? We can do it. And I end by saying, until the first Kenyan marathon runner won a marathon, Kenya has malnutrition, it has no tracks, it has no shoes. Who will think Kenyans can win marathons? But now, after that one, every Kenyan child says, I can do this as well. And now Kenyans and Ethiopians or whatever, they're winning marathons all around the world. Let's learn from Chaudhary Group. एउटा ग्रुपले गर्यो नि, एकजनाको सपना थियो, परिवार लागिरहेको छ, अब त एउटा कङ्ग्लोमरेटै भइसकेको छ, नेपाललाई संसार लिएर गयो, अब संसारलाई नेपाल के हो भनेर चिनाइरहेछ in a business sense of way. So let's all learn and let's all move forward. I thank you very, very much for coming. As always, inspirational, brothers. Inspirational. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.